So far, this Weekend Warriors season has been crazy, traveling to 5 unique tracks and having 5 different winners. It all started 5 weeks ago in California when points leader Maurizio Nicelli took home the win at Laguna Seca. Today, the Global Sim Racing Channel once again welcomes you to California, this time to Sonoma Raceway, for round 6 of the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors Series. Up in the booth today will be Ryan Walker, joining yours truly, Nick Schmeg, with Joe Peak in the director's chair using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Sonoma has seen its fair share of American motorsports usage from series like NASCAR and IndyCar, but it's rarely used by international tours. For those unfamiliar with the venue of choice for the drivers today, let's help you out with the GSRC Lap Guide.
Welcome to Sonoma Raceway, one of California's most famous road courses. It resides just north of San Francisco. It's been host to a wide variety of styles of racing, including sports cars, Indy cars, motorcycles, and even drag racing. But in recent decades, it's become most well known for holding one of NASCAR's rare road course weekends. For most tracks, this cornucopia would be a stretch, but considering the array of 5 different layouts to choose from, it's quite easy for the circuit to be adapted to any series needs. Most of the layouts clock in at around 2 to 2.5 miles in length and always feature an impressive amount of elevation change. This means many of the corners present the driver with a blind entry or apex. Some of these have a very distinct visual look, making them instantly recognizable. Corners such as the chute and the final hairpin feature street course-like walls surrounding the track, while the carousel is both picturesque and challenging. With few long straights, passing is often considered very difficult, but it rarely leaves races with a lack of action. Mistakes can be easy to make, offering opportunities for the brave. And it's not just the track itself which is tough. The pit entry's narrow path requires precise driving for those looking to make up time and leapfrog their competitors during stops. With more than 40 years of racing under its belt, Sonoma has become a staple for West Coast race fans. And what could be better than a glass of vino on a sunny hillside while the sound of engines echo around you?
Well, Ryan, there you see just how many different unique racing disciplines get used here on the iRacing platform here at Sonoma. It certainly is an interesting track.
Yeah, absolutely. This Sonoma Raceway, as far as we know, it hosts the real-life IndyCar series and a range of other series as well, or has done in the past. But today we'll be using the IRL layout, which is a layout that's not normally used in the Spec Racer Ford that much, but has an amazing 12 turns and is 2.22 miles in length for 3.57 kilometers if you prefer to use that. And passing places is going to be, or passing around this track is going to be difficult due to the tight nature of the track. But that final corner you can make a move into. It's just requires you to have a run on someone, but also it's a bit of a risky place to make a move, and could if you get it all wrong, it could cause an incident.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this layout's going to be pretty fun in this car, especially for the drivers. As always, the Weekend Warriors series is brought to you by Sim Stickers. Whether it's button boxes, steering wheels, or keyboards, they've got you covered. And now if you use the promo code GSRC10 or GSRC10 when purchasing, you get 10% off all orders for the whole season. You can find out more about Sim Stickers at simstickers.co.uk. Ryan, I mentioned in the intro to the broadcast that Maurizio Nicelli had won 5 weeks ago at Laguna Seca, and he's on a little bit of a winless streak, but it looks like he's still on top of the standings.
Yep, Maurizio, amazingly, still leading the championship, but like you mentioned, he had a nightmare at Silverstone last week, and he might want to try and forget that tonight and get some redemption. But Michael Dobek has been the form man in the Spec 1 class in second place. And Larry McLeod riding out the top 3. But Tim Van Dommelen's been consistent this season so far as well, in 4th place. And Antonio Reyes has had an up and down season, but is amazingly still in the top 5.
Yeah, and over in the Spec 2 points, the gaps look pretty similar. Erwin Rockkrans has had a pretty phenomenal season as far as I think it goes for him. He has been contending for overall victories and overall podiums at tracks previous to this, but he's got some company because Aaron Vogeli is up there, 27 points behind him. Brian Short, Tom Gradwell, and Dominique Bureau sit just below that line. And Ryan, we're always picking up some new viewers here. Why don't you go over the race details for us?
So some details about the series for anyone that's tuning in for the first time and isn't sure how it works. This is the 6th round of the 12-round season, and the setups as always are open, but you cannot change the fuel. But it says limited to 35%, so with the fuel being limited to 35%, you will have to make a mandatory pit stop. And the race length, as always, is 40 minutes, and the points are rationed out from 100 down to 25. And the incidence is -3 points for each 10. And as always in this series, you're allowed to take a fast repair. So if you take a fast repair, you will get a new car at the same time.
Definitely has helped some drivers in the past, and I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of drivers used that fast repair today as well. We've got a race in the morning, it looks like, here at Sonoma, about 9 o'clock virtual standard time. And we're glad you're joining us on the iRacing Esports Network once again. Proud to be a part of the team over at IESN to bring you all the coverage. Make sure you drop down and subscribe to them. Don't miss a second of racing. There you see the weather flash across the top of the screen as well. 82 degrees track temperature, a little bit of wind, 6-7 miles an hour, 70% humidity. Ryan, I don't see too much there that's going to be alarming for the drivers today, but I think that's good for these drivers. They don't need even more of a headache at this track.
Absolutely. I think with this race taking place in the morning, these guys don't have to. They won't have to worry about the tyres as such, like they have done in previous rounds this season so far. So these guys will have to be careful. Like I mentioned at the start of the broadcast, there's not really that many passing places, especially through that tight, twisty section in the S's in the final sector. And that final corner, you can get a move done, like I mentioned, but it's kind of it just requires both drivers to cooperate, but not really many passing places. So I think the key to this race is going to be all about patience.
Yeah, 40 minutes, and they're clocking about 1 minute 45 second laps. Maurizio Naselli's got the pole with a 1:45 flat, about a tenth faster than David Gaspers. There's Jonathan Madden, who was the winner a couple weeks ago at the Charlotte Roval. Madden coming around turn number 11 right now. Like you said, this is the IRL layout here, so that's going to be the first hairpin. They don't have to go all the way down to the tire barrier. Madden in 6th place now. This lap looks like that was his out lap.
Yep, and Jonathan Madden's he's been on a good run of form at the moment, and he done well last week to finish on the podium in that. How can we put it? Hectic closing stages where it all kicked off on the last lap there, Nicholas.
Yeah, absolutely. We've definitely seen some unexpected, unpredictable drama come up in a lot of these races this season. Just makes it all the more fun, at least for us. I'm not sure it does for all the drivers. There's Dominique Bureau. He's the current pole sitter for Spec 2, back in P9 overall. A little bit surprised with Spec 2. Nico Schuk's in 2nd, down in 14th overall, but Erwin Rotkran's nowhere to be found. He is actually just coming across the line now. He's 43rd overall. I'd imagine he's going to improve on that. And looks like he's just starting his lap now. But Rotkran's, who holds the points lead, and he's had a pretty dominant season over in Spec 2, definitely doesn't want to get too comfortable up there.
Absolutely. I think Erwin's with him leading the Spec 2 class championship, he doesn't really have to worry about winning the race in Spec 2 or every race in Spec 2. He just needs to be consistent and pick up the points. As we look at Neil Senkowski at the moment, currently in 7th position, but Hugh Haycock's behind him is trying to get a bit of a sneaky draft as Neil's pulls off the track.
And this part of the track, Ryan, I'm curious in. A lot of times in sports cars, NASCAR, whatever you choose, Sonoma is notorious for just being so hard to pass on. especially when you're following someone so tightly. But here, I think in these slower cars, like the Spec Racer Ford, it might be a little bit easier, especially since we are using the IRL version. You're not going to have the wake of the S's to deal with. You get this extra little chicane.
Absolutely, and yeah, I don't think Sonoma. It's not really a track that you can really use the slipstream to keep up with people. It's all about just keeping it clean and just not making any mistakes. You can't really rely on the draft to keep up with people. So it's just a matter of not making mistakes, just keeping out of trouble, and just hoping that you make it to the end of the race in one piece.
That's going to be the name of the game. Thankfully, like you said, they've got one fast repair to use if they need it. The only thing that I think this IRL layout does to harm the drivers is it makes pit road a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's another point as well with the pit stops as well. I think the pit entry is, you come into the pit entry really quickly, but it's one of those pit entries that all of a sudden it's got a bit of a sharp right on the entry, so the drivers are going to have to be careful and not carry too much speed and make sure they don't clip the wall on the inside or on the outside in the pit entry.
And I think pit exit as well has got to be pretty scary for these drivers, especially the ones that are on track that might not know there's a car coming out of the pits. That's kind of a blind crest going uphill there, that left and right turn.
Absolutely, it's one of those pit exits you have to pit exits that you have to be really careful, and you have to be really aware and what's around you, and make sure you don't come out and right in front of a car and turn in on them, because it's everyone's going really quickly and people on the pit exit are going slow, so it's kind of people have to be on both sides. You have to be real aware and make sure they give each other plenty of room on the turn one.
Not too much change on the board here for qualifying. Since we first looked at it, podium is still Naselli and Gaspers. Samoz has entered the picture, though. He's up into third. 2 1,000ths faster than Daniel Sadro.
Yeah, it's good to see that Daniel Sadro up there at the moment. I know last week he was saying to me that qualifying is not really his strong point. It's but in the race he seems to get it together and get up through the field and gain positions. So Daniel, I think he's managed to maybe get a bit of a draft off someone and slingshot himself up into P4.
You know, another thing I'm noticing here, Ryan, all around the track, we've got cars off track spinning. Not, vicious, violent accidents, but just like we see a lot in this series. It seems like a little bit more than normal. Just drivers struggling to gain their footing. A couple of these turns, like that hairpin, like the chicane, I'm noticing that's where it's happening. Great passing zones, but that also might be their #1 danger zones.
Yeah, Sonoma's a bit of a bumpy track in some places, and also the curbs are really high. You can't really attack them unless you've got the car set up perfect for them. But yeah, I've noticed it as well. Some people are making silly mistakes and just maybe pushing too hard, trying to find that limit before the race. And yeah, in the chicane, they're maybe trying to attack it too much and trying to take as much curb as possible to try and gain as much time. But around this track, you can't really overdrive in a way.
I think grip might be going away as well. See Jonathan Madden here once again, but the one thing about this race being in the morning, especially with the accelerated clock that they use here in the Weekend Warriors series, it doubles the speed of time, is it's going to be heating up throughout the day. We took a look at it just a while ago. It was 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Now the track temperature is already up to 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Certainly going to be heating up, and with tire wear normally, plus a loss of grip because of the heated track, it's going to make things very difficult for the drivers.
Absolutely. As I'm just watching Daniel Sadro as well, but it looks like he's starting another lap, and he's only got about 30 seconds to get over the line once he did, so he'll have one more chance to improve his time. But yeah, I was about to bring it up as well. Grip around this track as well, as the race goes on, it'll probably start to go off, and these drivers will have to be very careful.
Qualifying just about to wrap up. One last shot at it for a couple of drivers like Ian Haycox, who sits down the order just a little bit in 14th. He is going to be a little bit slower this lap. Dominique Bureau, another one, the Canadian, who is still your pole sitter in Spec 2. Looks like he's taking that to the pits. Chris Murakami. He'll be just a tenth slower, it looks like.
Yep, and at the moment it looks like the pole man is going to be Maurizio Naselli, but David Gaspers is not that far behind him. He's only about 1/10 of a second behind, and Michael Shaw coming around to complete his final qualifying lap. It looks to be a decent lap at the moment.
It's going to be just a couple tenths slower. Hugh Haycox is going to go just a little bit quicker, up to 20th. I don't know if he actually gained a position there. And Larry McLeod also goes up to 16th. Here comes Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray, we've seen him pit early, but in qualifying, that's pretty early. Aaron Bagley coming around through the S's. This is a driver second place in the Spec 2 points, but he sits pretty far back, 34th overall, and he's also going to follow Stevie Ray into the pits. And Bob Kern is one of the last ones left on track.
Yep, Bob Kern's coming around his final qualifying lap, and it doesn't look like he'll be making improvement as Bob dives into the pits.
I think that's going to be all of them. So let's take a look at that starting grid quickly. Naselli and Gaspers are going to be on the front row. Samoz and Sadro will follow them. Gorka Iturrate is going to round out the top 5. Jonathan Madden will be alongside him in row number 3. Nils Santowski and Steven Elson are going to make up 7th and 8th in row number 4. Row 5 goes to Jerry McReevy and your pole sitter in Spec 2, Dominique Bureau.
And we're also starting 11th alongside him is Michael Dolbeck, who had issues in the closing stages at Silverstone last week. 13th is Erwin Rockkrantz, 14th is Ian Haycox, 15th is Miroslav Juricek, 16th is Larry McLeod, 17th is Nico Schuck, 18th is Ed Doherty, 19th is Tim Van Dormelen, and rounding out the top 20 is Hugh Haycox.
Stevie Ray and Kurt Nunez are going to follow them. Kevin Bubar and Jim McGill, both Spec 2 drivers, will make up row number 12. The top 25 is going to be rounded out by Matthew Staley. Michael Shaw is going to be in the 55 car in position number 26. Kenneth Batley, Chris Murakami, Will Ferry, and Jeff Jacobson will round out your top 30.
Starting in 31st is Paolo Graham. Samuel Dirk will start in 32nd. 33rd is Simon Mayer. 34th is Aaron Bagley. 35th is Miro Haraski, 36th is Paul Jackson, 37th is Tom Gradwell, 38th is Ian Wilson, 39th is Gary Wilbur, and rounding out the 40 is Bob Kern.
Richard Franco and Paul Godden are going to be following them, 41st and 42nd, and then Andrew Cox, Frank Radosti in 44th, and Will Tidwell is going to be the last qualifier to set a time. Jason Staney and Timu Toika are in the grid in the session. That'll round out your big, massive 47 car field here at Sonoma. And just as we say that, pace car is going to begin the lap here, and they'll make their way up the hill.
Absolutely, and yeah, I have to say I'm looking forward to this race, Nicholas. What do you expect from this race?
I think we're going to have one busy track, as always, in the Weekend Warriors. Drivers are definitely going to have to be going to have a good sense of awareness, but like you said, going to have to balance that with a good bit of patience.
Yep, absolutely, and yeah, I'm expecting, even though it's a 40-minute race, I'm kind of expecting fireworks in the early stages of the race, especially up at the front when you've got the likes of Naselli and Gaspers and Daniel Sadro, and you've got the likes of Jerry McAreevy just watching in the background as well.
Yeah, we'll certainly see how chaotic this start is. Sometimes this series gets a little too. Sometimes the drivers at the front, I should say, get a little too ambitious on these green flags. They come down the end of the drag strip here at Sonoma into the first of the hairpins they'll be dealing with today. This one a little bit wider. I've noticed, Ryan, in qualifying, a lot of drivers get caught up on that big curb to the inside.
Yeah, the inside curve, it's a difficult it's a difficult corner to try and avoid that curve. It's a force of habit that you always want to try and clip that curve on the apex, but it's on the other hand with these cars you can't really take too much of it, and you've got to be careful in these cars. If you take too much, the car gets sensitive and just bounces around, and if it can spin you as well.
They come through the chicane and down into the hairpin. Remember, this is the first hairpin they'll use. You might see them swing it a little bit wide at times. That's perfectly all right. Pace car dives into the long pit road. And Maurizio Naselli, who has the outside through the hairpin, takes the green flag, and he'll have the inside going uphill. It's a great start from him. A great start as well from Felix Simoes right behind him. That's going to catch out David Gaspers, who's stuck on the outside. Up the hill they go. Gaspers is going to get around Simoes. Simoes is going to cross him back over for second. Naselli is loving to see this battling behind him in the mirrors. Gorka Iturrate behind them in fourth place gets around Daniel Sadro, who slips a little bit wide, and he's under threat here. He might lose this one to Santowski, and I think he will.
Yeah, and Maurizio Naselli is loving this at the moment. He's loving the squabbling behind going on between Simoes and David Gaspers. But I think it's all a matter of time before Gaspers gets by Simoes and possibly tries to close the gap on Maurizio Naselli at the moment. But watching further back in the field, it looks like the battle for P2, and Gaspers is up the inside. Gasper takes the position.
Gaspers has the outside, heading down into the hairpin. Almost gets a little touch from Simoes. And look at how close they are getting there to Naselli. Up on the curbs, and through the S's they'll begin.
Yep, and through the S's it comes it's still Naselli leading Gaspers and Simoes. And in the background of P4 as well, we've got it looks like Daniel Sadro, or Sadro's down to fifth, and it looks like Gorka is behind.
And Jerry McAreevy has moved himself up into sixth place as well. He gained 3 positions at the start. The leaders, though, go down to the hairpin for the first time. Up on the curb, swinging it wide. Just got to get close to that wall and not hit it. Lap number 1 is going to be led by Maurizio Naselli.
Yep, and Maurizio Naselli is David Gaspers is, like I said, he's closed that gap down to Naselli. But in the background, you've got Simoes as well. So actually, it looks like we've got a 4-car battle for the lead at the moment. This 4-car battle is starting to pull away from the rest of the pack.
I'm sure we had a couple cars off track in the back, but other than that, we had a very clean start. A little bit of problems here for one driver off, Emil Orza. We also had Neil Santowski go off track on lap number 1. He started in 7th. He's fallen back to dead last. So let's see a replay of Neil's here on lap number 1. Oh, all by himself.
Yeah, he went off the track in the S's, and I don't know if he had contact with someone or just done it by himself.
This looks like it might be on the pace lap, actually.
I was thinking, I wonder if he's using VR and he might have had a blip, like technical issues with his VR or something happened, because that was a bit of a strange one.
And back up front, we've had a pass for the lead. David Gaspers and Felix Simoes have gotten around Maurizio Naselli. This, I think, is quite a while ago. This looks like it's down in the hairpin after the drag strip.
Yeah, I'm checking the replay from my end, and it looks like Gasper's got the run on the celly, coming down to the double right-hander at the drag strip, like you mentioned, and Gasper's up the inside of Naselli, takes the lead, and at the moment he's starting to pull away a little bit as Samoas and Naselli battle amongst themselves.
Yeah, they've made this a 3-car battle. That second train of cars is Madden, Sadro, McAreevy, Steven Elson, Gorka Itarade. Pardon, he's fallen back quite a few spots. He must have had an off track that we missed as well. And it looks like we might have had a problem with Kevin Bubar. See what happened here with him. The driver of the number 240. He qualified second in Spec 2. Looks like just lost some grip at the top of the hill. That's costly this early in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't want anything like that to happen in the early stages of the race, especially when it's got a pit stop. And I'm just looking in the Spec 2 class at the moment. I think it's being led by the Flying Canadian Dominic Bureau.
Rockrins has overtaken him. How about Erwin Rockrins, who we kind of doubted in qualifying to maybe have the pace? Should never have doubted him. He's back on top of the Spec 2 class. Dominic Bureau, though, only sits a couple spots behind him. They're split right now by Ian Haycox. This is a long train of cars. Itarade leads this train, getting overtaken by Michael Dobek, or trying to get around Michael Dobek, rather. He's on the outside, might switch back in his favor. He's not going to be able to stay side by side with him. It's quite bumpy up the hill. You can see that.
Yeah,
it's allowed Juracek to close in on him.
Yeah, I was going to say, these cars bounce around quite a lot, especially on the run up to turn 1. It's you've got to be very careful with your steering inputs, and Michael Dobek at the moment making great progress through the field, currently sitting in P8, but Utrecht is putting him under pressure with Juracek behind and Rockrins as well.
Yeah, this is a long train of cars. Everyone's trying to stay clean. Dobek goes a little bit wide through the carousel. That allows a big run from Itarade. Let's see if he can set anything up here down into the hairpin. He's definitely looking. Dobek's going to let him have room. But Dobek's going to slam the door. Gets a little sideways when he does it, though. And here comes Gorka Itarade for the position number 8.
Yep,
he's going to have it.
And it looks like these two are going. Oh, I thought they were going to try and go
side
by side.
Dobek sideways with Juracek behind him.
Oh, that was unfortunate. That was just the nudge each other again. That was just unfortunate. The contact between the two, and I was about to say, going too wide through the S's is not the best idea.
Yeah, Juracek had the momentum. He didn't want to waste the opportunity, and now he finds himself in the grass with a couple more dents unwanted on his car.
Yeah, I'm just watching the replay from my end as well, and it looks like Juracek, to be fair, was going for a gap that was closing, and if I was Juracek, I would have backed out of that.
Nothing has changed. I think he clipped the curb, it looks like, as well. You can see Juracek. Yeah, they just ran out of room in front of Rockrins, you can see there.
I mean, it's a section that you could maybe try and make a move through, but it's I would say you have to be ahead of the car before the entry of that section. But that's just it was unfortunate because Dobek and Juracek were having a great run, but back up towards the front, Daniel Sadro and Jerry McAreevy are squabbling or battling for P5 at the moment.
Yeah, McAreevy has been on a great charge forward from the start. He's going to get Daniel Sadro here. It looks like Sadro's going to try to cross him over, but he doesn't quite have the momentum. He's got to fend off Steven Elson's charge from behind him. That'll allow the 67 of McAreevy all the way from 9th to slip up into 5th.
Absolutely, and right there on board with Elson at the moment. He's just sitting behind these guys at the moment, just keeping a watch and brief, and just waiting to see if anything happens between these two guys. As Maccabi and Sadro run wide a little bit in the chicane.
Yeah, that might be a... Let's see. McRavy's going to try to late apex this, trying to make that the best situation possible, but Sadro and Elson battling with themselves, not able to gain in on him. And so that'll allow McRavy to slip away pretty significantly, because Sadro and Elson are going to be side by side going uphill. Elson's going to think better of it and duck back into line. Let's take a look at all that action from a better look.
Yeah, so I'm just checking the replay from my angle as well, and it looks like McAreevy and Sadro might have just maybe just braked too late or carried a little bit too much speed on the end. Yeah, they ran wide a little bit, missed the apex in the chicane, and yeah, I think both of them got a slowdown.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think you're right. I think both of them got to slow down because it was kind of awkward as they headed in to turn number 11 into the hairpin. A little surprised Steven Elson wasn't able to gain more on them during that. He finds himself right behind Sadro still, almost to the rear of Sadro's number 51.
And I'm looking back up at the front from my end as well. David Gaspers has not managed to pull away from Somoza and Naselli. Somoza's keeping Gaspers honest, and the gap is around about 3 to 4 tenths of a second.
Yeah, they've stuck all together, and in fact, that battling, well, they haven't quite battled, but sticking together so tightly has allowed Jonathan Madden to close in a little bit. He was a little bit closer last I checked, so he might be slipping away. But Jerry McReevy not too far behind Madden in 5th place. I'd keep an eye on that number 67 of McReevy. He seems to be very quick here in the early going.
Absolutely, and Jonathan Madden last week at Silverstone, I believe someone further back in the field had a problem. It looks like Ed Doherty.
Might be a scheduled pit stop. We are 12 minutes in, about a quarter of the way. And if this is a scheduled pit stop, I don't know what Stevie Ray's thinking about this, but he might have had his crown taken away from him. He's out of the car. It's all right, Stevie.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a bit early to be making a pit stop. I believe I would say round about you want to try and get to the 25-minute remaining mark to try and make a pit stop. 25 minutes remaining or under, or 20 minutes remaining at least to try and make it work. But yeah, that was I was going to say that was well early. So like you say, Stevie Ray has not had the crown taken away for the earliest pit stop.
Good battle going on for further back, 18th place. This is quite a gaggle back here. A lot of cars involved in this. It looks like it's all being led by Hugh Haycox, Jim McGill, and Kurt Nunez. Matthew Staley and Emil Orza also involved. Remember, Orza started up in 11th. He's fallen back to 19th here because of that spin on lap 1.
And it's unlike Hugh to be further back in the field, but maybe struggling with this track. But he's got a whole bunch of cars behind him. He's got the Honey Monster, Jim McGill behind him, and also a whole bunch of other cars as well. So it's starting to build up this pack.
And who was that behind them that shot into the pits? I couldn't quite see who that was. That was Emil Orza, Aaron Vagley. And Gorka Iturrate has damage. Something has happened with the 41. He has spun. Oh, he's made big contact with Steven Elson for 7th place.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the replay to see what happened. And it might have been. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. It might have just been because Iturrate was a wee bit behind, so I don't know if he's tried to dive into the pits and maybe clipped Steven Elson by accident.
It arrived so I don't even know what happened there. It's almost like he thought we were going to the second
Ooh,
hairpin. He had so much speed.
that was a. I'm not one for speculating, but that was a very suspicious.
Steven Elson finds himself still in the thick of it. He's just been overtaken by Jason Staney, and he's got Chris Murakami back behind him. Murakami started in 28th. He's up to 19th. Good charge from him. And Felix Simoes has come into the pits from second place. Gaspers and Nicelli stay on track, but they're split by a bit of a gap.
Yep, and it looks like, yeah, as I suspected, the 25-minute remaining mark is people are starting to make their pit stops now. Or yeah, several others are making their pit stops, but David Gaspers at the moment has managed to stretch out a bit of a gap, I should say, to around about 1.1 seconds.
Well, Ryan, you said 3 minutes ago that a little bit early to pit, but certainly the drivers ought to think that now's a good time to come in.
Yeah, especially if you're stuck in traffic as well around this track and the layout. If you're stuck behind traffic or behind a slower car, right now is not actually a bad time to be making a pit stop. You could try maybe do an undercut and gain track position.
Yeah, we'll have to see if anyone can jump the leader there. Now, Ian Haycox is battling here for 7th place with Tim Van Dormelen. Van Dormelen, who started back in 19th. He's trying to get 7th place here. Haycox also on a charge, though. He's not really... Of course, he's defending this position, but he started in 14th, so a lot of hard charges in this race with so much attrition early on.
Absolutely, and it looks like Tim's going for the move up the inside. Up into the chicane, can he get it done? He's up the inside of Ian, and Ian doesn't seem to fight him too much, and Tim Van Dormelen takes a place and is up into P7.
He gets the job done. We'll have to see if either of them come into the pits. It looks like they'll both stay out. Two drivers behind him, Larry McLeod and Dominique Bureau. They will be following them. And a little bit of an update, Gaspers and Nicelli also chose to stay out on track. They have not come into pits to reply to Felix Simoes. But Simoes is back out on track. Murakami, here he comes into the pits. Samuel Dick from 21st. Kenneth Batley, 22nd, will follow him in. And Matthew Staley has had an issue. This involves Jason Staney and Kurt Nunez as well. Actually, Nunez, this worked out quite perfectly for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm watching the replay now, and it looks like Staley just went into turn one, and he had a bit of contact with another car, and just got sideways onto the gravel, but luckily didn't hit the wall, and he's managed to keep going. But like we mentioned at the start of the broadcast, there is a fast repair, so if he has to take it, the option is there, and he won't lose too much time.
Riding on board with Kurt Nunez. And you can see just kind of out of nowhere, he's gonna split him. And he continues on his day.
And yeah, Kurt Nunez was like, yeah, scrapping loads of sales, boys, and I'll happily pick up a couple of freebies. And yeah, off he went.
Absolutely.
As yeah, Ian Haycox dives into the pits, and also behind him, I'm not sure who that is, but a couple of other cars are diving into the pits as well. So seems to be everyone's deciding to pit now.
Yeah, I see Larry McLeod back there. This is definitely interesting because we do have our leaders still on track: Gaspers, Nicelli, Madden, and McAreevy, who have they've all got buffers in between them. Doesn't look like any big battling going on there. And we had a spin from Jeff Jacobson. Don't have to go there, but McAreevy had a little bit of a scare. Happened right in front of him.
And yeah, still in the lead at the moment is David Gaspers. The gap between him and the Celtic now is around about 2.4 seconds. So Gaspers is just basically pulled away and yeah, left everyone behind. But David Gaspers, we've never expected anything less. And as I said to him before, he is like the Michael Schumacher of the SRF world.
Interested to see how this plays out for Felix Simoes. He took that bold strategy coming in the pits quite early for the leaders. He's actually in a bit of a battle with Teemu Toika right now. He just got around him. This is back for what is now 14th place. Toika, of course, we know has a great deal of pace in pretty much anything he drives on iRacing. He did not qualify, though. He started back in 47th. Which I believe was dead last on the grid.
Yeah, I was quite amazed. I was quite shocked when I looked at the positions and noticed he was up into P15, and so a great run from Teemu. And like you say, he's really quick in anything that he jumps into. So it's good to see Teemu in the Weekend Warriors League as well, having a great run. And yeah, hopefully we see him back here in other races during the season.
The only other battle I see on track right now is still between Tim Van Dormelen and Dominic Bureau for 7th place. And Van Dormelen looking awfully quick, trying to get away from him. Bureau had to get around lap traffic of Gary Wolbott there. You can see the gap there on screen. About 7/10 of a second right now. Just over halfway through this race at Sonoma.
Yep, and I don't think it'll be too long before the likes of Van Dormelen and Bureau will be into the pits as well. And yeah, I think with the leaders, when it comes to the pit stops, they're doing the usual thing and just trying to stretch out the fuel as long as possible. And you can do some fuel saving around here, but not too much like you'd expect at the other tracks. But at the moment, still Van Dormelen leading Bureau, and Bureau still second in the Spec 2 class. And I think Rotkrins is too far ahead at the moment for Bureau to do anything about for Bureau to catch up to him, rather.
And Daniel Sadro is our top pitter now. He just entered the pits. Van Dormelen and Bureau will not follow him. And none of the leaders did, just Daniel Sadro on that lap. He was all by himself in 6th. Or I believe actually was 5th at the time.
Yep, so I think Daniel Sadro, he's not really got anyone threatening him or anyone in front of him, so I guess he's just deciding to get his pit stop out of the way now and hopefully not come out and, behind any traffic.
This makes the Felix Simoes strategy all the more interesting. Nearly 2-minute laps that we're seeing from the leaders. I mean, 1 minute and 47 seconds each. And those laps definitely add up. Simoes, I don't know, Ryan, do you think that's going to work out for him? I mean, he's, what, 5 or 6 laps early now?
I'm not really sure. I think it comes down to whether he gets stuck behind traffic or not. If he gets stuck behind traffic, I think that'll throw his strategy out the window. So he just needs to hope that when other people make the pit stops in front of him, they don't come out right in front of him. So at the moment, Simoes just needs to try and put down some clean laps and some quick laps as well to try and maximise that strategy.
I don't think Simoes had a very quick stop either. He seemed to be a bit longer than Daniel Sadro. We'll definitely see if that works out for him. Simoes, of course, going for 2 wins in a row after last week getting the win at Silverstone. And Jerry McAreevy is our new pitter, coming in from 4th place. That's going to promote Erwin Rotkrins to 4th place overall. continuing to rack up points in that Spec 2 series.
And Tim Van Dormelen and Dominic Bureau decided not to pit, so they'll go across the line up into P5 and P6, but obviously they still need to pit, so they'll probably cycle out round about the bottom of the top 10, or just outside the top 10.
Not sure if this is a track where fuel saving is the best. I'm sure it's better than a lot of other tracks. And McAreevy comes out right behind Daniel Sadro. So Sadro did have a quick stop, it looks like, as he gets around the likes of Teemu Toika now.
Absolutely, and Daniel Sadro, his pit stop at Silverstone in the closing stages last week was just unbelievably quick. So he could be doing the same again as McAreevy goes off a little bit wide in the background on the gravel. But Daniel Sadro managed to jump himself up into a podium position. I think his strategy might work, so it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out.
Now, Teemu is another one who has not pit yet. Of course, he's coming way back from the back of the pack. So he'll be taken out of this equation relatively soon. But that will leave Sadro and McAreevy to duel it out by themselves. And actually, it looks like he's going to let them do that now. Not sure if that was on purpose, but either way, McAreevy slips through underneath the 38.
As I'm just watching Van Dormelen and Bureau still, and they still decide, or they still don't pit. So these guys are managing to stretch out that fuel a little bit. So yeah, interesting strategy by these guys, but not always a bad thing because they won't have to take as much fuel at the pit stop.
And you know, this is one thing that I'm not sure I fully understand. If you are someone right now like Nacelle or Madden, at this point, it's almost certain you're going to end up pitting on the same lap as David Gaspers. You might as well try something, though, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it might be worth trying a different strategy. Maybe try and pit now and try and maximize, or try and not lose too much time. Maybe try and close some time down the pit stop. Maybe through a quick pit entry and a quick pit stop and a quick pit exit. So yeah, I'm a bit confused as well. I'm not sure why Nacelle or Madden have not pitted yet, but if you're further back in the pack as well, like I'm watching, like I keep mentioning that I'm watching Van Dormelen and Bureau. If I'm Bureau, dive into the pits now and try and do an undercut on Tim.
We'll see if they have that opportunity. They've got to be running low on fuel. Gaspers eyeing up both the hairpin, and he's going to go into the pits. Gaspers is in. Will Nacelle follow? He will indeed. Madden also dives in. And so we will just see how quick their stops are and if Nacelle and Madden can gain anything here. Erwin Rockkrins has also come into the pits. I think this might be their limit because Tim Van Dormelen and Dominique Bureau actually going to stay on track for another lap.
Yeah, that's interesting. I thought Bureau would have dived in as well, but it looks like Dominic has managed to stretch through out by one lap. But he has to remember that he tried to do this at Laguna Seca. I think it was earlier this season or towards the end of last season. He tried to do that and came into the pits and ended up having a pit stop bug. So he just needs to be very wary of that.
And Gaspers is out first. Nacelle, I actually saw him back up into his pit box. He might have overshot it and not realized it at first. That's going to be very costly for Maurizio Nacelle.
Yeah, I seen that. That was unfortunate for Maurizio, but yeah, maybe just being a bit too eager, trying to gain some time on David. But Gaspers has nailed that pit stop and managed to come back out by the looks of it. And also, Samoa's, it looks like he actually got beaten in the pit stops as well, big time. So yeah, I'm not sure what went wrong. What went wrong there?
Yeah, that strategy did not pay off for him. It looks like he finds himself quite a ways behind Jonathan Madden, who Madden's certainly going to be jumping Nacelle. We'll see just how far back Nacelle falls. Hard to tell now. It looks like he's behind Jerry McAreevy. and Daniel Sadro. McAreevy and Sadro in a bit of a battle now. Actually, McAreevy has found his way around Sadro.
And I'm just watching Dominic Bureau as well. It looks like he's going to dive into the pits, and indeed he does. So Dominic Bureau has managed to stretch out an extra lap of fuel and is into the pits now. It'll be interesting to see where he comes out with regards to Rotkrans and Van Dormelen.
Yeah, Van Dormelen's getting a draft right now too through the S's with the help of Ian Haycox, and he is actually battling with Ian Haycox. So I'm not sure if that traffic hurt Van Dormelen earlier in this lap or if this draft will make up for it and actually benefit him. We'll have to see. But yeah, Bureau, you can see him. He's that yellow car stopped right there, the 208. Van Dormelen coming around the hairpin now. I think this is going to be close, actually. But I think this is going to help Tim.
Yeah, Tim's is coming across the line now, and where you get Bureau. Bureau's coming on the exit.
Oh, there's Bureau, yeah.
Bureau's in front.
He is indeed. That kind of surprised me. He's in front of both Tim Van Dormelen, but also Ian Haycox. Not too far behind Erwin Rotkrans. That is actually our Spec 2 battle for the lead, too. Dominic Bureau and Erwin Rotkrans. So Bureau is really going to have to make gains there.
Yeah, I'm wondering what happened to Rotkrans, because I don't know if he might have took too much fuel possibly, but he lost a ton of time to Bureau and Bureau I think it was, and also I was going to say Van Dormelen, but it's just Bureau by the looks of it.
And so if you're wondering what this does to the overall lead, of course, David Gaspers is going to hold it. Maurizio Naselli, though, made a mistake in the pits, and that'll cost him. Looks like Felix Samoz actually finds himself back up in second. He did lose quite a bit of time, but in terms of position, the mistakes by Naselli and Madden being stuck in traffic actually ended up helping him.
Absolutely, and David Gaspers just proving again why he's so good at doing the pit stops in this series. Just look at the gap between him and second place. That's a big gap, and David Gaspers, like I said before, he's just a master in this series, and especially when it comes to the pit stops, he absolutely just nails them every time.
Jerry McAreevy finds himself about 4 or 5 seconds behind Felix Samoz in third. That would round out your podium should this result stand, but McAreevy's got to hold off Daniel Sadro for third place. On screen, we see a little bit of a battle between Larry McLeod, Stevie Ray, and Jason Staney. This is back for 11th place overall. Hugh Haycox also getting chased down by them.
And Jason Staney making his return to the series this season. He made the return before last season, but this is his first race of the season, and good to see him out on track, and good to see Stevie Ray out on track as well, who does quite a lot for the esports side of the SRF as well, and it's great to see sim racing being publicised or made bigger across social media. So good job by Stevie, and something that I applaud him for.
Yeah, great to have all the SCCA participants from around the country involved in esports during a time like this. And Stevie Ray having a good race for himself as well. Sitting back here, just got overtaken by Jason Staney a lap ago, but top 15 run, pretty good for him.
Absolutely, and top 15 is nothing to be ashamed about, and this pack behind Hugh Haycox as well. He's got 3 other cars behind him, so he has to be careful. But at the moment, I have to say, Nicholas, it seems to be that this race has settled down a little bit.
It has a little bit. In front of him, that might not be the case, because another Haycox, Ian, has moved himself up into 7th. He got past Dominic Bureau, and a little bit of a spin behind him. Who was that? That was in the battle we were just watching. That was Larry McLeod in the hairpin. He's going to lose positions to both Staney and Ray.
Yeah, I'm just watching as well to see what happened, and Yeah, it looks like, oh, just Larry got tagged from behind into the final corner, but it's just a little bit of contact, and Larry managed to gather it up and get going again. But that was unfortunate. He lost a couple of positions to Stenny and Ray.
Might have gotten a little bit of help there. Couldn't quite tell if Staney got into the back of him. And he actually has not lost a position to Stevie Ray. He was able to get back in front of him. So that's where they find themselves now. But what I was saying just a moment ago was that Ian Haycox was leading a battle for 7th place. Dominic Bureau and Tim Van Dormelen tucked up right behind him.
And Dominic just needs to remember that Tim Van Dormelen, he's not a threat in the Spec 2 class. So if Tim gets by him, he doesn't need to worry or stress out about it. He's still got a P2 in the Spec 2 class wrapped up if he just keeps it together.
Yeah, he'd certainly love to get around Ian Haycox. He'd only be one position away from Erwin Rockkrans. He won't quite have the time, only got 5 minutes left. But he's going to take a peek inside here to the hairpin, and I think Haycox is going to let him by. Actually, way deep into there. He's almost certainly going to have a slowdown penalty from that, I would think. Doesn't look like he does. He's going to be unharmed from that. And he's going to get the position aggressively.
Yep, absolutely. I'm looking back up at the front as well, and it looks like the battle for could be on for a battle for P3 between Jerry McAreevy and Daniel Sadro in the closing stages. And just looking to see where Rachel Naselli is with regards to the gap. He's a little bit behind Sadro, so a 2-car battle for the final step on the podium, it looks like.
Looks like that might be the case. Sadro and McAreevy, these are two drivers that have shown some incredible pace today. Sadro really quick in qualifying and practice. Started in 4th place. That's where he is now, of course. And McAreevy had an electric start. I think he got 5 positions on lap 1. But behind them, Dominic Bureau. He has not quit this battle. Ian Haycox has gotten back around him through the S as they go. Tim Van Dormelen kind of in the popcorn position. He's trying to battle with Ian Haycox for position. Well, he's got Dominic Bureau right in between them.
Yeah, and I was just watching Dominic as well. If I was Dominic, he's in the Spec 2 class, so if Tim gets a run, I wouldn't fight him too much. I mean, he's still got a podium position in the Spec 2 class, but as Dominic tries to take a sneaky look up the inside of Ian, and tries to scare Ian offline, but doesn't succeed. But he has to watch Tim Van Dormelen behind him, because Tim is looking. He decides to let Tim go.
Bureau looks like he got to slow down that time. That'll hurt him. That'll hurt him big time. Van Dormelen's going to be left alone with Haycox in front of him. And I think that is going to settle down between the two. At least a little bit more. Tim Van Dormelen, he was waiting to battle with Haycox. Now's his chance.
Yep. Tim's there's a battle for P15 is going on at the moment. That is between looks like Stephen Elson and Michael Dobeck, and not far behind Jim McGill with Nico Shook and Michael Shaw. So this pack has been slowly building up for quite some time.
And Jim McGill and Nico Shook are back in 17th overall. That's actually a battle for 3rd place in Spec 2. So a pretty high stakes position to try to get on the podium in Spec 2. Shook is trying to find a way around McGill, just can't do it. Similar situation ahead of him with Elson and Dobeck. Elson's going to run wide. Dobeck's going to have a big run, it looks like. Not going to be enough, though. They get down to the hairpin, and side by side behind him, McGill and Shook. Shook's going to be able to slip through underneath. Is McGill going to lose another one to Shaw? Jonathan Madden spins in the background in 20th. Action all over the track back here. Still going, though. Shook trying to get behind, or trying to get in front of Jim McGill, tucked up right underneath him into the hard on the brakes chicane. Schuch slides a little bit. That'll allow McGill to slip away.
And yeah, this battle in front of them between Elson and Dobek is still going on. And yeah, it's all starting to kick off in the closing stages. But I think, as it stands, I think we may have 1 lap or 2 laps, two more laps to go at least.
And Dominique Bureau and Jason Staney had a moment going uphill through the S's. Big save from Bureau, it looks like, because they made contact.
Yeah, I'm just watching them from my perspective running up to turn 1. It looks like Staney was up the inside, heading up there, and yeah, it looks like Bureau just had a bit of a moment, just got a bit sketched. Oh yeah, just got sideways a little bit.
Meanwhile, David Gaspers is coming into the final hairpin. I think this is going to be the white flag that he's coming up onto, but it could be the checkered. Well, we'll have to tell, or we'll have to wait and see. David Gaspers, who's had a phenomenal run today, comes across the line, and he's taken the white flag. He's got a little bit more to go, 2.2 miles more of the race. McReevy and Sadro have calmed down for third. It looks like McReevy's going to have that, assuming he doesn't make a mistake.
Absolutely, as yeah, McReevy's just maintaining that gap to Sadro, and it looks like this will be the top 3 positions as it stands. But I don't want to jinx anyone, but it seems to be it's settling down a little bit, and this battle for P15 is still going on between Dobek. Actually, Dobek's gained a position from Elson.
And Nico Schuch has also gotten around Jim McGill. That's the big one, P3 for Spec 2. But they've got another lap to go. McGill's got company for Matthew Staley. I don't think he's going to be able to catch Nico Schuch. Meanwhile, David Gaspers is coming through the S's. He has had a pretty dominant race, and I said at the top of the show, we've had 5 different winners in 5 different weeks. Well, David Gaspers, he won back at the Nordschleife. He is about to become our first 2-time winner of the season. He's got a sizable 10, now 11-second gap over Felix Simoes for second. He didn't need any help in the pits. He didn't need any help on track, because David Gaspers is going to come across the line at Sonoma and win round 6 at Sonoma Raceway in the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warrior Series. Third place is going to go to Jerry McReevy behind Felix Simoes. He's able to finish, McReevy's able to finish ahead of Daniel Sadro, and Maurizio Naselli comes across the line 5th. Erwin Rotkrins, it's going to be yet again another Spec 2 victory for him. He's going to finish 6th place overall. Haycox and Van Dormelen, we've been watching them all race long. Haycox goes all the way down to the inside wall to defend. He's going to get that spot over Tim Van Dormelen. Checking back to see if 15th is still close. Michael Dobek's got a pretty good gap over Steven Elson and Michael Shaw. I think that's pretty well sorted out. Nico Schuch able to get around not just Jim McGill, but also Kurt Nunez. That is going to be for 18th overall on the grid. It'll be Nunez just ahead of McGill. Matthew Staley. Timu Toika comes across the line. Great charge from 47th up to 22nd. I think that's going to just about do it. A little bit of a battle back between Mayer and Kenneth Batley for 27th. Simon Mayer's going to have it. And yes, I believe that's going to do it here at Sonoma. We're going to jump to a quick commercial break, but we will be back, so stick around for a full driver rundown of results for 47 drivers that took the grid today, and of course, post-race driver interviews. Welcome back here to Sonoma Raceway, and if you're just joining us here on the iRacing Esports Network, I would highly recommend going back and watching everything that we just witnessed. But just a little spoiler alert, we had another dominant performance from David Gaspers. He's going to have the top position, the top step of the podium in the number one machine. Felix Simoes and Jerry McReevy will round out that podium with them. Daniel Sadro and Maurizio Nicelli, our pole sitter, will round out the top five. Behind them, Erwin Rotkrins is going to take the Spec 2 victory in sixth place overall. Ian Haycox, Tim Van Dormelen, Jason Staney, and Dominique Bureau finishing second place in Spec 2 will round out your top 10.
Finishing in 11th was Hugh Haycox, with Larry McLeod finishing in 12th. Series admin Stephen Ray finished in 13th. And in 14th was Emil Oizer. Michael Dolbeck finishes in 15th, with Stephen Elson in 16th. Michael Shaw is finishing in 17th, with Nico Schuck in 18th. 19th is Kurt Nunes, and rounding out the top 20 is Jim McGill.
Matthew Staley, the driver out of the Northwest region, is going to finish 21st. Great drive for Fat Timu up into 22nd. Kevin Bubar, Gorka Iterate, and Samuel Dick will round out your top 25. Behind them, Bob Kern up 14 spots. Up 6 spots is Simon Mayer, just edging out Kenneth Batley at the line for 27th. 29th and 30th are going to go to Tom Gradwell and Will Ferry.
Paolo Brown finishes in 31st. 32nd is Myro Haraski. 33rd is Paul Gordon. Paul Jackson 34th. Jeff Jacobson finishes in 35th. 36th is Chris Maricani. 37th is Gary Walpole. 38th is Frank Radowski. 39th is Jonathan Madden, and the rest of the field either was miles back or retired from the race.
Yes, indeed. And certainly some big names to point out there. Miroslav Juracek in 41st. Aaron Bagley 42nd. Ed Doherty a little under the weather today, 44th. And Neil Santowski also had an early race incident in 45th. But we're being joined by our winner today, David Gaspers. Sorry about that. David, you are the first driver this year to win 2 races on the year. How were you feeling? Did you think that was going to come at Sonoma?
At least I was hoping it would work like that, but I wasn't feeling too good with this track. I was struggling quite a bit in qualifying, couldn't really get a lap together. And also with high temperatures in the race, they suddenly went up by a lot. I was still struggling at the start of the race with that.
Yeah, that's one thing we noticed is I didn't realize until just now how extreme that got. The race started at 80 degrees, went up to 123 Fahrenheit. So certainly, I'm sure handling was a great concern of yours out there.
Yeah, in that long downhill corner, I'm not sure what its name is. I had a lot of oversteer there in the race, which took some laps to get used.
Yeah, and the one thing you had a little bit unique in the race today is you seem to be at the front, most of the race. Once Nicelli got pushed back to third there, the pit stop decision was pretty much all up to you, and pretty much everyone followed you there, so you didn't have too much strategically going on, I don't think.
I think in general, unless you're fuel saving, there's not much of a strategy here. You lose time if you pit early behind cars that are further back. And also, if you pit later, your car is lighter all the time. So you can go a little faster.
Yeah, we certainly saw you take advantage of that because you came home with an 11-second win today. So congratulations on that. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, thanks to you for broadcasting this race, and the others for driving as well. Without everyone showing up, it wouldn't really be.
Absolutely. We love doing it for you, and especially when you've got a big field of 47 cars like today. Always fun, no matter what track. So that's David Gaspers, your winner today at Sonoma in the SRF Weekend Warriors. Ryan, you've caught up to the driver who finished third place overall on the grid, Jerry McReevy.
Yeah, Jerry doing it for the Scots and finishing in third place on the podium. And Jerry, that looked like a pretty good race for you, and a good battle with Mr. Sadro in the closing stages.
Hi, yeah, it was a good race. Got an unusually clean start, and it just went pretty smoothly through there. Did my best to try and give it back to Daniel near the end, but it was all good. I don't know what happened in the pit cycle, how I cycled out in the third, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, there has been times that this season so far that you'll probably admit yourself that you've not had that much luck at times. So I guess finishing on the podium in third, it feels like a reward.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been up here. So, yeah, just got to enjoy it while it lasts.
Good stuff. And yeah, what did you think of the track? And did you think, especially this layout, did you think this car suited it, or do you prefer the longer layout?
Certainly prefer the longer layout. Definitely chicane at the end kills it for me, but I've kind of learned to love it near near the end of the week. So, but at the start I hate.
And yeah, are you looking forward to next week's track?
Yeah, it should be good. Spa, always good racing there, so should be good fun. Look forward.
Good stuff. Well, thanks for joining us in the booth, Jerry, and again, congratulations on the third place, and look forward to seeing you on track next week.
Cheers, Ryan. Take care.
As that was Jerry McAreevy joining us in the booth, and I believe up next is Daniel Sadro with Felix, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, Felix, welcome to the booth, and also welcome back to the podium. Not the top step that you had last week, but congratulations on second today.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was a good race. To be honest, I wasn't feeling also very comfortable with the race, with the track and the high temperature. And my pit strategy was all wrong. I didn't lose too much time behind slower cars, but I think I put way too much fuel, and then I was quite slow on the next few laps. So I ended up losing a lot of time, and I was quite surprised when I saw myself in second place, although 9 seconds away from Daniel, but it was quite a surprise for me. I didn't expect to finish so high in the podium.
Yeah, you had a couple cars get a little bit lucky in front of you. I think Naselli had an incident, a couple other. But were you a little bit surprised when you pitted early and you realized that no one else really came in for a couple laps after you?
Yeah, I have to admit, yes, I was like, I think I did something wrong. But yeah, and then I just put my head down and tried to do the best I could. But I didn't do very good in the initial laps after the pit stop. Maybe I was with strategy in my head, which made me lose concentration for a bit. So I lost some time, and then at some point, I don't remember who was in second. Someone was ahead of me that just came out of the pits, and he went into the pits again. I don't know why. He was in third place. I could see it, and then he went into the pits. Yeah, I got lucky once again. Like the last time, I also got lucky to get the victory because the first 3 guys had that problem. And today, yeah, again, the bad luck of some is the luck of others, right? So I got a bit lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, take it however you can get it. Second place,
yes,
you definitely had the pace out there, so congratulations on that. And Felix, hopefully we can see you next week at Spa. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I mean, the organizers of the league is really great. It's just my second time participating, although I've watched some races from some time. Yeah, just you guys doing the broadcast is really good. It's really nice to watch. And yeah, and the organization of the whole thing is really good.
Yes, it is indeed. We love it, and we're glad to have you on board for it. You always make things exciting in the last 2 races we've seen you. So congratulations, and we'll hopefully talk to you later.
Okay.
That was Felix Mose coming home in second place today overall. Ryan, I believe you've got a couple questions for a driver who finished fourth place. It looks like on the overall grid, Daniel Sadro.
Yeah, Daniel had a good qualifying for once, and qualified in the top 5 or top 6, I believe, and had a good battle with Jerry in the closing stages of the race. And yeah, did you like this layout for the SRF Weekend Warriors, Dan?
Well, I like the track. I guess I didn't hate the layout as much as other people did. I really kind of overqualified myself, and I struggled quite a bit in the early going. And yeah, I just had a pretty good race with Jerry. Somehow got past him on the pit sequence, and but I really had nothing for him. I needed him to make a mistake for me to pass him again.
And yeah, what was your expectations for the race? Was it just finish and see where you end up, or is it try and go for the win?
I did not expect the win to be in the cards. I just come in every week trying to do the best. You hope for the top spot that you can get. I did not think that I would finish fourth, though. In no way I think I'd finish fourth.
Good stuff. And before we let you go, is there? Yeah, you're looking forward to Spa, and if so, how do you think it'll go?
Spa is not one of my favorite tracks in this car. Yeah, I think it's a load of fun. It's a wonderful track, but in this car, I'm not a fan of the combination. Lotus 49, I'm there every day and twice on Sunday, but in this car, it's not my favorite. So it'll be much more of a toss up where I finish. I could finish third. I could finish 30th.
Good stuff. Thanks for joining us in the booth, Dan, and we'll look forward to seeing you on track next week as always.
Yeah, thanks guys for broadcasting, and of course thanks to the Sim Stickers guys for paying for you.
That's Dan Sadro coming home in fourth place overall today. And of course, we do want to give a special shout out to a couple of people. We'll give a special thank you to everyone who came out today for the 6th round in the SRF Weekend Warrior Series, including all the drivers, the 47 drivers to be specific, that put on the show for us today. We'd also just like to thank Sim Stickers for sponsoring today's event. Don't forget to check them out at simstickers.co.uk. An additional thanks to all the amazing companies that provide the software and hardware that we use to create a GSRC production for you. We, of course, want to thank the very talented June Lalonde as well, who provides our music. So see the screen for more on how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the crew today in the booth, Ryan, Joe, and Dougie. And don't forget to check out the GSRC on social media. On Twitter at GSR Channel, on Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, on Instagram at GSRC_Graham, and of course on our YouTube channel. You can go over there and hit the big red subscribe button so you don't miss a second of racing. Make sure to join us in the PRL NASCAR Cup Series tonight at Richmond over in Virginia at 8:50 p.m. Eastern time to see more. But to see more of today's racing, we're going to be back next Sunday, like Ryan said, for round 7 at Spa. Finally, with all that being said, thank you so much for joining us today. And until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.